to another episode of Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the humane educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. Animal wrangling for us, as always. And matching with our first guest is our volunteer coordinator, Sean Snyder. And this big guy is a very recent addition to our adoption floor, but he has been part of the shelter community for much longer because he was in foster care for about 4 months. And that was a great opportunity for us to learn a lot about Bradley. Yes, we are a fan of human names for animals, and his name is Bradley. He is a 3 to 4 year old domestic short hair, and he is an incredibly affectionate cat. He loves attention. He wants to sit on your lap and be carried around, and he comes right up to you and he asks for attention. And as you can see, he's still like looking around. He's like curious, but he's like, I don't really have a reason to get up. It's fine. I'll just stay right here getting what I want, doing the elevator butt thing. And he was in foster care, as I mentioned. And as a result of that, he also had some exposure to other pets, which is always a good thing to know. His foster mom was one of our kennel techs, and she said that after his quarantine had ended, she did start to introduce him to the existing cats and dogs in the home, and he was fine with it. He didn't have any issues with that. And now, understandably, she was supervising all of their interactions when they weren't there. Bradley was being separated so that, because they weren't fully integrated into the household yet. And you should always do slow and proper introductions with, your new animals and your existing pets as well. But a lot of people have been coming in looking for cats that are going to do well with dogs, and Bradley is definitely one of those. He's also a cat that we think will be great with children of any age. He doesn't seem to have any quirks or things that make him want to not deal with loud noises or fast movements or things like that.
So as you mentioned, he was in foster care because of wounds of an unknown origin. What exactly does that mean?
So that means when animals come in with bite wounds or wounds that could resemble bites, and we don't have a history of why. If an owned animal comes in and they're like, oh, my other dog bit my dog, or my cat and my dog got into a fight, we know what the origin of that bite was. Were those animals rabies vaccinated? We can track all of those things. Wounds of unknown origin, we have no idea what bit this cat or caused that injury. So it could have possibly come from a rabid animal. And rabies is something that, we all take very seriously. And the quarantine in this state for wounds of unknown origin to identify if an animal is showing symptoms of rabies is 4 months. And they have to be quarantined in a double isolation space where if they were to escape from their original location, there's still another location that's going to keep them separate. They actually can only have one handler. So there's a lot of rules for that. And we're fortunate that we have a lot of staff and volunteers who are willing to do that so that these animals can get the care that they need in that quarantine period and then come back to the shelter when that's over and be made available for adoption. So many cats we've had with wounds of unknown origin, and Bradley's just the most recent one of those. I think he's also our last 2024 cat, maybe. One of the last ones there, and he's ready for a new forever family. And as I said, he's going to be a great fit for any household. I don't really see any problems anywhere. And if you think that he is exactly what you're looking for, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to start that process. Our next guest is equally as fond of attention as Bradley. This is Fluffy. He is a little bit older at 6 years old, and he is a cat that came to us owned. His name was Fluffy. We don't change names when they come in with an existing name unless those names are offensive or detrimental to the adoption process, which sometimes can happen. Fluffy is a cat who enjoys being picked up and held and carried around, but he seems to be a little bit more resistant to the lap cat designation right now. But that's also because, in our experience, he's an incredibly curious cat. And he's in a new space, and there's lots of stuff in here to look at, get into, hide, crawl under, all that stuff. But he is super affectionate. When I first met him, I was trying to take his picture, and all he wanted to do was get close to me. He wanted me to rub him. He's very talkative. He has a lot of really good qualities because he's a very sweet cat. He's confident, which is always super helpful. But is a cat that does have a few things that we should be mindful of in terms of his ability to get along with other pets.
Yeah. So it's recommended that he doesn't go to a home with other cats. Why is that recommendation in place?
So sometimes with animals, we notice their interactions with the cats in the surrounding cages. We've had cats, one of my favorite cats, Horizon, for example, who would see another cat and just hiss and growl from across the room and then, lash out at everybody else. She hated other cats. So we can judge based on their interactions if volunteers are taking them out. Are they, sticking their head around and hissing and growling and swatting at the other cats? Is their behavior change when they're in situations with those other cats? Because a lot of our cats are stray, and that is how we kind of learn whether or not they're going to get along. In his case, because he was an owned animal, he was actually surrendered for not getting along with the other animals in the home. I believe they found him as a stray and took him in and had him vetted and cared for him, but he was being aggressive in his interactions with the other cats, and it just wasn't fair to the existing animals in their household. So they brought him to us so that we could find him a more suitable placement. So for that reason, because the best predictor of an animal's behavior in a home is their behavior in a previous home, we are looking for him to go to a home where he would be the only cat. In terms of, how to do with dogs, we don't know. We haven't tested that theory yet. We don't have a history on that, but we know that he wasn't getting along with other cats. And a lot of people just want one nice hangout kind of cat. He is 6, so he's going to be very established in that friendly, social type of behavior. So he has a lot of good things going for him. He just wants to be the only cat in your life, which, is not a crime. We have a fair amount of cats that come in that way, and they always find the right family for themselves. So if you think that Fluffy is going to be the perfect addition to your household, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to book an appointment to meet with him. Our first canine guest is a big one, 83 pounds of dog, and this is Bruce. And Bruce is a dog that we have a lot of information on because he was surrendered by his owner, but they actually really filled out the profile very well and gave us a lot of details about him. They acquired him through a Facebook post, and they were told that he is a Labradoodle. And I bring that up because once I posted his picture on Facebook, everybody's like, that's not a Labradoodle. That's a this, that's a that. We here in-house have some ideas on what we think he would actually be, but when an owner tells us that their dog is a certain breed, we go by what they tell us, and these people were told this is what their dog is. We don't know that that's not necessarily true, so that's what we continue to write. Most of our animals come to us as strays. So we are making our best educated guess based on physical appearance, personality traits, and things like that. So, it's never just generally assume that they're a mixed breed, large mixed breed, small mixed breed. We're never going to guarantee the breed of any dog. But this guy is about 4 years old. And his former family did put a lot of effort into him. They did do a fair amount of training, so he already knows sits and he knows down. They were working on stay, come, place. They were working on getting him, crate trains, and they, were good to tell us that he loves attention and affection. He likes belly rubs, and he's a leaner. But he also does have a fairly high prey drive and will chase, cats and small creatures out in the woods. So be mindful of that. And that he does get along and enjoy spending time with other dogs, which is all really, really helpful information. And, when you come in and visit with us, we do ask you to read the profiles, and the information that the owner did provide is all listed here for you.
So he has a look and a personality that a lot of people may be attracted to. However, he does have one restriction on him.
Yes. A lot of times when we say no small children, that's based on our opinion on how they interact. Are they fearful of things? Are they, going to bowl kids over and knock them over? With this dog, it's based on his experiences in the household with young children. He did not do well. He chased them. He wasn't respectful of their space, and he was, knocking them over and things like that. And so, again, predictive behavior. Their behavior in a former home is predictive of what their behavior will be in a future home. His former owner said he did not do well with those small kids, but he loves big people. He loves adults, older kids, again, loves other dogs. So that's just really, for him, the best home would be a home with kids probably 10 and up. I would, based on his prey drive, I would also avoid, a home with cats and guinea pigs and things like that he might want to chase. But he does have a lot of great qualities. We just want to make sure that we're setting him up for success and going to place him in an environment where it's going to be safe for him and safe for the family themselves. So if you have a home that's, toddler free and you think that Bruce, whatever his breed actually is going to be a good fit for your household, then you know what to do. You need to go to visit fcac.as.me. If large dogs, are not your thing and you don't like 83-pound dogs, maybe a nice 9-pound dog will do it for you. This is our little senior Chihuahua mix. Donut. She's about 6 years old, so she has that cute little graying in her muzzle. But let me tell you, she still has plenty of energy. Once she's, comfortable with you, she's doing the, jumping around on her back feet, dancing. She wants to jump up in your lap. She wants to be in your space. She's very, very affectionate. And a lot of people are looking for, especially I think older people want that nice little dog that's going to sit on their lap while they, read a book, watch TV, hang out at home, those types of things. But she can be a little bit nervous at first. And that's not really uncommon for her breed. Oftentimes small dogs can be a little under-socialized because people do, carry them around and keep them at home and things like that. So they get used to living in one space and not really going out as much as, say, a larger dog that's going to go hiking and going out to the breweries and things like that. But she does walk, fairly nicely on a leash. She's a small dog, so one would hope that she's not going to pull too much. But I often recommend harnesses for small dogs just because it's easy for them to back out of things. A lot of people don't put collars on properly and they're too loose. And so if, your dog, you keep walking and your small dog stops, they can pull right out of it. Just to make sure that they're extra safe. But, she wasn't super interested in toys. Honestly, she wasn't that interested in food when I was trying to get her to take stuff. She just wanted attention, which is a good thing. You want your dog to want attention from you. She's friendly, but again, just a little bit more reserved at first. So loud noises, fast movements, just getting down, making yourself less intimidating for her, and letting her come to you, which she will when she's ready.
So as you mentioned, she's a little shy with new environments, new people. What can her adopters do to make her more confident?
Yes. So, a lot of people think that a small dog doesn't really need any training. I disagree for a lot of reasons. We want to make sure that they're behaving appropriately. Are you coming over? That they're behaving appropriately, but also training helps build confidence. She gets to understand that she can do something successfully. She gets rewarded for it. It helps build her confidence. Training's also a great way to socialize her. A lot of people want to keep their small dogs, bless you, at home and carry them around and do all those things. Let her walk. Let her walk on her own, get some exercise, take her out, socialize her, get her used to different things. Excuse you, ma'am. And reward her with a reward that's going to be suitable for her. So for her, she really likes attention. So, petting her and things like that might be a better reward than food or play or things like that. So those are just a few things that you can do to really help build her confidence. But again, when you're introducing her to new people, having them get down really low. She's very small. So, even a larger dog like Bruce could be intimidated by a tall person. So getting down low, making yourself more submissive can really be helpful as well. She is a dog that we don't really have any restrictions on. I know that some people have already started coming to look at her, excuse me. So if you're interested in taking her home, I think she's the smallest dog we have right now. And the only one. I think the next dog up is like a 40-pound dog in terms of weight. So if you're looking for a small dog, don't miss out on this opportunity. Go ahead and go to visit fcac.as.me to book that appointment. just brought to my attention, we don't have a lot of pit bulls on the show today because we have a lot of new dogs that have just been processed. The three that we have, the first two, and then this guy who's Curtis, are newer to the adoption floor, and we wanted to get them out there and get them seen. And we do get different types of dogs. While yes, we do get a large pit bull population, other things do come in. So if you're looking, just keep checking our website, stopping in, because oftentimes we do have several dogs that don't fit that pit bull type mold. Curtis is about 2 years old, and he did come to us as a stray. People, when they see him, they'll notice he is a little bit thin. We do our best to get our animals up to their fighting weight, but it does take time. And sometimes, for certain dogs, and I think Curtis is one of those, being here can be very stressful. And so they're constantly moving and pacing and doing things that we would kind of call stereotypic behaviors. And so they're burning off calories. So they are going to be, some of them, a little bit thinner during their stays, just like some of our cats get a little bit fatter because they're more sedentary, things like that. So yes, we do acknowledge those things, and we are mindful, and we observe and we watch those things. But all in all, our staff is saying that Curtis is a pretty sweet dog. As you can see, he's playful. He's very handsome. He enjoys being petted, and he likes attention. He's excited. He's reacted favorably to other dogs here in our facility. I would say that he's very treat motivated. He does know a sit already. So he has a lot of good things going for him, for sure. But we do have recommendations for him with no small children and things like that are also important to take note of. You also want to read his medical to talk about, he does have some things where we don't know if he's chewing on his feet or if he's scraping them on things. The pads of his feet have been doing a little bit of bleeding. We've been monitoring that. And then our vet also noted that he did maybe have a grade 1 out of 6 heart murmur. So those are all things that you want to read through. That's why we ask you to read the medical and have maybe your vet take a look at him if you're unsure. We can give you these records so that you can have your vet that you trust kind of give you an opinion as well.
So we talk a lot about reading body language, dog body language, and that's important for Curtis. Why is that?
So a lot of dogs, it's important for any animal to read their body language. But Curtis definitely has some things that he doesn't like. He can be a little bit head shy, which means things around his head can make him nervous, especially with people maybe he's not familiar with. And he also doesn't like to be taken by surprise. And those are reasons why we're not recommending him for homes with small children. But, he gets tense, and he gives you that, you can tell that he's uncomfortable from, how his ears are back and things like that, his gaze. And if you keep pushing, then he's going to start to growl. Which is another warning. A lot of people like to punish growls. They think it's a bad thing. Growls are actually good because it's your dog telling you that they're uncomfortable. Please stop, because I don't want to do anything more than this. I want you to know I mean business. And if you continue to progress, he will air snap, which is just giving you another warning. Hey, I don't like this. Please back away. So because we know he's willing to give those good signals, we don't want him to be pushed beyond those things. So we want people to understand what his body language cues are so that they can stop and not push him. We want him to not feel unsafe. And we don't want any of those situations to escalate. As you can see, super friendly dog, but I think he would be better suited for a dog savvy family. I don't think he would be a great first time dog for someone if you're not experienced. But a lot of great qualities, but you also want to, weigh that with the things that he needs to work on. And I think you were talking the other day, our dogs, a lot of them aren't just wash and wear, or, they do all have some things that they really need a little thing here or there that they need to work on. And Curtis is no different. And if you're ready to work on those things with Curtis, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to start that process. If you're looking for a dog that will definitely liven up your household, Taz definitely fits the bill. He is exuberant about most things in his life. But as you can see, he's also very trainable. So he's excited, but with training, he can get into the training mindset and calm down and relax. He is just a goofy, fun dog. His name is Taz, and he is aptly named because he comes in hot like a little Tasmanian devil, like he's like the cartoon, just spinning around, excited. doing those things, rolling around. But he is a sweet guy, and he's a fun guy, and he's a playful guy, and he does have a lot of potential. He just needs an owner that's going to give him the appropriate amount of exercise and enrichment and training so that he can learn to have a little bit of impulse control. And most of our dogs honestly come in with those issues. They just need a little bit of extra to kind of get them to that point where they can be the best versions of themselves. He's about 2.5 years old based on the information that we have. So he's still growing out of his adolescent period, where, likes to push those boundaries and see what he can get into. And hopefully, again, with the right household, he's going to do well. Based on our behavior assessment, he is obviously friendly and excited. He needs to work on those jumping things, and walking nicely, but he is, easy to obtain. He enjoys humans. He sits very nicely. He also, takes treats fairly nicely. I've definitely had dogs take treats from my hand worse. He enjoys, petting and things like that. Loves the belly rubs, but if you are concerned about your strength in holding on to a leash, or is he going to pull you down, then he's probably not the dog for you. He's very active and he is very strong. He's a little bit short and squat, but he's about 46 pounds, and he's like 46 solid pounds for sure. So a lot of great qualities for him, but he needs to work on those manners a little bit.
So he arrived here as a stray, but we know his name is Taz. How do we know that?
So microchips. We talk about the importance of microchips. We have a microchip clinic here every Wednesday, and actually in October with our Subaru Loves Pets partnership, we'll be doing some free microchip clinics for people. So that's how we know that is his name. He's also a dog that has been brought to us as a stray previously, and we returned him to his owner. In this instance, he did come to us as a stray again. We did track down his microchip, try to call. We actually went and posted notices, our ACOs did, on the door of the residence where his owner lived. We held him for longer than our normal stray period to allow that person to kind of contact us and call. And after the 10 days when no one did that, we went ahead and made him available for adoption to find him another suitable home. So, people always ask, do you scan them for microchips when they come in? Yes, Taz is a perfect example. If you're seeing that, we're saying, yes, this is this animal's name, and they were a stray, it's usually because they were microchipped, and that's the name that was on their microchip. But if you think that you have the energy to keep up with young Taz here, you can start that process of making him part of your family by going to visit fcac.as.me. Now, we had a couple of animals on the show today, but there, as always, are many more. We're still having kittens come in, so there's a lot of kittens on the adoption floor. There's also a lot of seniors on the adoption floor right now. So if you're looking for that kind of calm, relaxed animal, we still have plenty of bonded pairs out there on the cat floor. And a lot of dogs to choose from. I'm surprised nobody's looked at Violet, our exotic West Siberian Laika. So if you have sporting and herding dog experience, she might be a fun thing for you to check out. So just a lot of animals looking for forever homes. If you are looking, definitely make an appointment to visit, because you never know what you might find here at Frederick County Animal Control.